Hey there. I'm gonna scooch back just a little bit. Hopefully the camera will autofocus. So based on what you guys saw in the video title, I'm gonna focus a little bit more today on forward folds and just kind of different ways to make them work for you, but also the different variations and how to modify forward folds depending on if you have super tight hamstrings, if maybe you're dealing with a little bit of tweakiness in your back, and just kind of how to move and use props. With that in mind, I would suggest having a strap. I got a strap nearby. I have a dog behind me. That is not suggested, but it is something fun to work around. A block, so a block, a book, bolster, whichever, just something to help bring the world a little closer to you. If you are using a bolster, it should be wide enough for you to put both hands on. Otherwise, I would suggest getting two books or two bolsters or two blocks because we will be using one for each hand in a couple of positions. So now that you know what we're going to do to get started with, I want you to focus on breathing at this point. Make yourself comfortable, get your stuff organized how you need to. I just kind of go, I want it in arm's reach or in that awkward kind of tumble roll I can grab at reach. I have my dog kind of sleeping behind me, so I will be moving around her or she will move, one or the other. Comfortable seat. I tend to sit half lotus because it's comfortable for me, but I will fidget between postures. You can sit on a block to bring the world closer to you. A suggestion, if maybe you are a little tight in your quads and you want to get a little bit more of a passive stretch to start, you're going to sit on your heels, but instead of traditionally sitting on your heels like this, which might put a lot of pressure on your ankles, just a very light stretch here, we're going to sit on the block, book, or bolster. You can stack the two books on top of each other, and we're just going to sit. Hi, I'm sorry. I disturbed her by pushing her paw. Essentially, I'm sitting on the block, hip bones on the block. There's no pressure on my ankles here, but this is allowing me to get just a very nice little passive stretch along my quads, which mine are really still kind of tight for Murph. So we'll also do a little bit of light movement to get into the shoulders as well, beyond just the forward fold focus today, just because I think we all need a little bit of that from whatever variation of push-ups or pulling movement we were doing on Monday. So allow yourself to get comfortable, get seated, take your fidgets, shake the shoulders out, fiddle with whatever music you need. Just get yourself comfortable to where then you can just start to focus on your breathing. Filling your chest and your belly. On your inhales, getting big, taking up space. And on that exhale, allow the shoulders to relax. Gaze can soften. Allow your jaw to soften. You can close your eyes too. I know it's a video, so you kind of don't want to always close your eyes. It is what it is. Allow your hands to rest wherever it's comfortable. In your lap, on your knees, down by your sides. You can go palms up, palms down. In a previous video, I mentioned if you go more into the esoteric side of yoga, palms up tends to protect your energy. Palms down protects your energy. Palms up welcomes energy to you. That just kind of gets into that more esoteric side of the practice. I tend to feel more comfortable with my hands up. I tend to lace my fingers if I'm going in this position, just because it's more comfortable. So focusing on the breathing here, we're just going to take some nice, deep, calming breaths, sighing it out if you need to on your exhale. Maybe rotating your jaw, doing any little wiggles. If you are somebody who likes to set an intention for your practice, we talk about this pretty frequently whenever I discuss setting intentions or at the beginning of a practice. I just want you to have something to bring your focus back. What I mean is once you start kind of wandering down out your to-do list or the minutia of day-to-day life just starting to encroach, I want you to have a thought that you can bring back to center and allow that stuff to kind of get pushed off to the wayside, allow it to fall out of focus. Think of an intention or setting an intention for your practice or a word or counting as framing up a shot on a camera. What you want your focus on. Allow everything else to get blurry behind it. It's a weird analogy, but I feel it works well. So if you start focusing on the things beyond your intent, beyond your meditation, just bring that intention back to focus and allow everything else to kind of fuzz over. Still there, you can still acknowledge that it's there, but it becomes less important and it isn't your focus during this time. In my practice, the word I tend to go between two words being grace and patience. Those are two things I try to cultivate in my life. It can be anything else, whether it can be personal strength, the ability to let go of something, or whatever works for you. If you don't want to have a word to focus on, you can focus on counting. It sounds weird. It's what helped me start meditating is counting to 6 on my breathing and just ease counting up. That rush counting, just that gentle 1, breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Whatever your focus needs to be, just let it be. I'm going to start how I typically like to start. Big reach up overhead, and we're just going to go for a twist, bringing that left hand down to that right thigh, just to introduce a little bit of movement in that mid-back area. Gaze coming along your baseboard or where your wall and your floor meet. Gently coming over behind you. That right hand can place behind you as a balance, but not as something to help push you deeper into your twist. It's like a placeholder. Three more breaths here. She's having twitchy puppy dreams. On your inhale, we're going to untwist. Big reach up overhead. Give yourself like a little rib shimmy here. We're going to exhale, twisting, bringing the right hand down to that left thigh. Again, that left hand more of a placeholder behind you versus something that you're grabbing onto and yanking yourself deeper into the position. Gentle twist, inhaling, getting big, getting tall, exhaling, twisting that little bit deeper. Couple more breaths here. When you're ready, we're just going to untwist, big reach up, and shift the rib cage side to side. Hands are going to come down to your thighs here. We're going to make some big chest circles, just because I do know there's a lot of tightness that I'm hearing from other people about having to sit all day. Hi, cutie. So, hands can come down to your thighs here. I'm going to push my chest back. So I'm curling my spine in. Boom. I'm going to pull my ribs to the right, push them forward, bring them to the left, push back. So we're going to take a couple circles. I say a couple. Really going for about 5 to 8, as many as 15 circles, just depending what feels good for you. And one direction and then just take it in the opposite direction. So if my chest is forward, I'm going to shift to the right, push it back, shift to the left, push forward. So just smooth it out in that opposite direction. Hands really aren't doing much. I just keep them in my lap because it's what's more comfortable for me. When you're ready, boom. We're going to break out of that posture, moving into a tabletop. Yeah. Going through cat and cow here. So allowing the belly to drop down, getting a nice big stretch. So maybe if you subbed out for sit-ups instead of pull-ups, because maybe you didn't have a pull-up bar for Murph. Very tight core on that exhale. Big stretch, just like that. Big old stretch. Just like she did. If you need to sigh it out, you sigh it out. Moving through cat and cow here. And maybe pushing those hips back, getting a bigger stretch in that mid to low back area. You need a deeper stretch through any of the postures. You can come onto your fingertips. You shift back and forth. Coming into tabletop at the start of your practice is a way to just kind of help move your body, help loosen up whatever you need to loosen up. Maybe throw in some wrist stretches. I tend to love doing those. Bringing fingertips back towards my knees, palms face down and shift. Right and left here. Maybe you did a bunch of push-ups and your wrists hurt. Mine started hurting. As we move through these postures today, we're going to play a little bit with some balance as well. Just because it's something kind of fun to throw in every once in a while. Switch. I'm going to go one hand at a time here. Bring my fingertips back of the hand to the mat. In my case, my carpeting. Shift here. And we'll switch onto that opposite hand. We'll go through Sun A a few times just to help move through it. We'll take a little pit stop. So we'll probably take Sun A about 5 times, moving into that tabletop. Just so you guys know where we're going and know how we're going to get the body warm. Toes curl under, hips lift, first down dog here. We're going to stay here for about 6 to 8 breaths. So pedal out your feet. I like to kind of shift into my shoulders every once in a while, just to kind of help loosen up my shoulders. You can shake your head. Again, that's a personal thing I do just because it helps loosen up my neck. Gaze is going to come between the fingertips. This is going to be the first forward fold of class. We're going to walk those hands up towards your feet and take about 2 fist distance between your hands. Hang everything nice and heavy here. So the forward fold, if you're forward folding like this, where that upper back is super rounded, and you're really not getting a great stretch in those hamstrings, or maybe your hamstrings are so tight where it's hard to get a stretch there, I want you to bend your knees as much as you need to kind of get that rib cage onto your knees. Let that head hang heavy. By doing that, we're helping protect that upper back. And as you start to loosen up, you can start to straighten those legs. We're going to inhale for that halfway lift. This is a nice little place. I like to utilize blocks if you want to. Halfway lift helps keep that back in a nice neutral position. On that exhale, we're gonna just fold a little deeper. Head's gonna come up last here. Rise. Big full body stretch here. Shake it out if you need to. I'm gonna angle the camera just a little bit, bear with me. Boop. So, we're gonna move through Sun A. If you just kind of as a recap, we're gonna take that first one at a nice easy pace, bending the knees, taking it knees, chest, chin, taking it into a cobra. And as we progress, if you want to add in a little bit extra, go for it. If you don't want to add in any extra, you don't have to. If you're still really sore and you're using this as a way to help recover from the weekend, cool. So we're going to start more basic flow through. I'm trying to make sure I don't step on my dog while I do this. Inhale, big reach up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we're going to bend the knees, plant your hands. So bend those knees as much as you need to. Hi. I'm sorry, did I disturb you? Step back into that high plank. Make sure you don't get kicked in the face by your dog. Lower down, knees, chest, and chin. Boom. Pull through. Baby cobra. Since she is now not in the middle of my floor, I'll belly crawl over. We're going for that baby cobra. Just thinking about lifting that chest up. There we go. Exhale, come down to the mat. I'm going to push back into a tabletop. Curl those toes under. Down dog. Gaze will come between the fingertips. And we're going to step our feet towards our hands. Now, we're going to take a slightly different variation. I've heard it called east-west pose or gorilla pose. We're going to step up onto our hands. So my toes are coming towards my wrist crease. Boom, boom. Again, looking from a side angle, my knees are pretty bent here. This might be enough of a stretch to pull yourself deeper. You want to think about pulling your elbows away from you. So going right and left, let the head hang heavy. Three deep breaths here, sinking any deeper as you need to. Walk those hands out. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, fold, bend those knees. Come into that nice standing posture. Big full body reach up overhead. I always like to do a little shimmy here just to help loosen up everything. We got 4 more that we're going to rotate through. On that last one, we're going to add a little variation to it. So we're going to move pretty quickly through our sun salutation. This first round, we're going to go, we did our knees, chest, chin. We're going to go for a full chaturanga jump back. If you don't want to do that, go step back into that high plank and then lower. So inhale, big reach up, big stretch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, still exhaling here. Jump back for your chaturanga. Pull through. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Shake it out. Gaze is going to come forward. You can play with stepping, jumping, or hopping those feet towards your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Head comes up last. Big full body stretch. Boom. I'm going to take it more of a swan dive these next couple rounds. So inhale, big reach up overhead. Hands come out to the side. Chest swan dives forward. So you're leading with the chest. Chest, 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 chest. Fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, planting those hands. Jump back. Chaturanga. I went with my right foot lifted. Pull through for your up dog. into down dog. 2 to 3 nice deep breaths here. Gaze comes between the hands. I'm going to step, jump, hop, float to the top of the mat. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to reverse swan dive, so hands are going to come out the side. Use that core strength to come up. Keep that chin tucked, and then head lifts as you reach up overhead. 2 more. Sorry. Swan dive forward. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. Couple breaths, shake it out. Top of the mat. Halfway lift. Fold. Root to rise or reverse swan dive, keeping the chin tucked till you reach up overhead. Strong mountain. Last round, and we're going to pause in down dog to make a little variation to help get into the shoulders. Big reach up overhead. I'm still going to swan dive forward because I want to. Halfway lift. Plant. Chaturanga. Pull through. Up dog. Down dog. Shake it out. Few deep breaths here. Feel out the posture. Drive those heels. Lift those hips. We're lengthening through that tailbone. It's like someone's trying to pull you up by your tailbone to the ceiling while we're pressing through the base of our knuckles and trying to press our heels down. We're going to come back into that high plank position and lower all the way down onto your belly. We're going to come into twisted cross. So if you did a lot of push-ups, it's going to feel really good in that shoulder area. Left hand plants, right arm goes long, roll over that right shoulder. A variation if you are hypermobile through your shoulder joint. Cactus that arm or goalpost. So right angle, down, and roll over. We'll be here for 5 to 8 breaths. Just breathing here. I've got 3 more breaths here. I'm gonna rotate over here. Switch sides, bring that right hand underneath that right shoulder. Left arm either coming straight out from your body or doing that goalpost. Roll over that left shoulder. 5 to 8 breaths here. I got two breaths right now. I'm gonna roll over. Bring both hands in underneath my shoulders. I'm just gonna press up here just to get a little bit of a back bend going, much more for a cobra. So my quads and my hips are on the ground and I'm pressing up, letting those shoulder blades pull down my spine. So it's almost like someone's trying to push your shoulders down as you're lifting your chest up. When you come down, move into down dog. That's going to be our transition. Boom, down dog. We're going to step both feet forward between the hands. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And root to rise, head comes up last. Big full body stretch. So we're going to play with a little bit of a slightly funky sequence that I haven't done for you guys in a while. We're gonna go for eagle pose. So if eagle is not in your practice, you can stay in chair pose. Chair is gonna be our transition to get there. So you're gonna shift your hips back. I like to, if I'm moving towards eagle, I will keep my feet like underneath my hip sockets rather than bringing my feet together. It just helps with balance. Personal preference here, but it's a nice little trick. Hands are gonna stay at our heart for this one. So we're gonna shift our hips back, coming into chair. This is more just gonna be a little transition. Eagle pose, weight's gonna shift into that right leg, left leg, right leg is gonna come over top. So it's like you're trying to sit back in a chair, and you can loop your toes around your calf. So the deeper you sit back, the easier it is to wrap your toes around. We're trying to keep the hips square here, trying to not let my toes cramp. We're gonna hold for 2 more breaths. We're gonna shift, coming up, shake it out. Got 1 more on this side. This is gonna be that figure 4, or what we know it's like a Hawaiian squat. So that right ankle is gonna come on top of that left knee, hands at your heart, and sit back here. If you need to grab onto something to balance, go for it. Still trying to keep those hips level. 3 more breaths. And we're going to break that pose, shake it out. Do that same thing on the opposite side. So we're going to plant through that right leg. I'm not adding in the arm variations that you typically would get for eagle. We'll do that later. We're focusing right now on just feeling out the balance aspect, especially after doing possibly 300 air squats and running a lot. Hips will shift back, coming into chair. Few breaths here. While I'm breathing, while I'm feeling this posture out, the weight is going to start loading into my right leg. So you can get a little shifty going on, bringing the left leg up and over and sitting back. And I'm noticing these pants were not the best choice today, which is fine. You'll just see me fidget with them. We're sitting back here. Notice on this side, I can't wrap my toes around and maintain balance. That's fine. Right now, I'm focusing on balance. 3 more breaths. We're going to come up, break that posture, shake it out, crack those toes. I'm a toe popper. We're going to set back up. We're going for that figure 4 variation of chair pose, or what we would call a Hawaiian squat. Bringing that left ankle on top of that right knee. Hands come here. Okay, everyone needs a little assistance with balance. So if you need to hold on to something, hold on to it. I'm not going as low as I typically could because this is going to help me focus more on my balance. My ankle's doing this nice little wiggle thing to try and maintain balance. 3 more breaths. Come up, a little off balance, and shake it out. I know I said we're sticking to figure folds, but I wanted to introduce a little bit of balance, just to have a little bit of a new flavor. So, meeting back in that nice strong mountain. So if you want to give that full body stretch, go for it. Wiggle out those toes. We're going to go for warrior 2 on the left side. So, to get into position, I'm just going to shift my weight back, slide my right foot. So I'm using high lunge as a transition. So I'm coming here, back heel spins down. I'm going to manhandle, get my hips into position, keep that nice strong bend, open up. So pivoting around so you can see, Boom. My hips are tucked up underneath me. Nice strong 90-degree bend, rib cage pulled in. My hips and shoulders are pretty well in line here. We're trying to go for that versus the big reach. So we're staying boom, nice and grounded. 3 to 4 more breaths. Side angle. I'm going to bring my left forearm down. My right arm is going to reach up or forward. Opening up the chest here. Our primary thing isn't to reach forward and collapse the chest in. We're trying to open up that chest and then reach. Very nice. 3 breaths here. And then come back through warrior 2. Straighten that front leg. Triangle pose. So I'm going to catty corner myself so you can see. Pushing my hips back. You got a little hip pop out of that one. I'm going to reach forward. This is where that block, like I said, that awkward kind of reach grab range. Reach with that block. Reach, 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 reach. Pivot. Big open chest here. You can gently press your hands onto the block. Lower as you need to. Gaze can be down at the floor or up at the ceiling. Whatever's more comfortable in your neck. Shoulders are stacked over each other. Hips are trying to stack. We're trying to open up the hips, open up the rib cage. I'm going to take that pivot out, so we're going to fold over that front leg. This is going to be a little funky setup. We're going for pyramid. So, that back foot is going to have to bump up quite significantly. This is where at least 1 or 2 blocks will come in handy, or books, or a bolster. And then you inhale for a halfway lift here. We want to think about pulling the left hip back as we push that right hip forward. Gaze is forward, and as you're comfortable, fold down. You can move the blocks out of the way. Allow that head to hang heavy. There's about like a 2.5 foot distance between my heel and my big toe. So my left heel and my right big toe. I'm still thinking keeping my spine long as I fold, coming deeper. We'll be here for another 4 to 5 breaths. We're in pyramid pose here. So this can be a lot. I'm getting a lot in my left hamstring and my left IT band area. Now, pretty much the whole left leg right now is lit up. Since our hands are planted, we're just going to bend those knees, step it back, down dog, drop to those knees. We're coming child's pose here as a way to catch your breath, because I definitely need to, and I can tell you I'm sweating right now. So child's pose, allowing the arms to reach forward, head and chest to relax down. We're going to hold this for 5 to 8 breaths. If you don't feel like you need a lot of child's pose time, that's cool. Shake it out. I'm going to reach for my coffee cup behind me. This one is not. When you have 2 coffee cups and can't figure out which one's full, this is a chance for you to wipe your forehead off. We still have 1 more side to go. So with that child's pose, just coming back to whatever intention you set at the beginning of your practice, whatever you decided your focus to be for the day. I'm going to come into sitting on my heels just so I can kind of shake it out a little. We're going to meet back into a down dog. So we're going to come tabletop, curl those toes, hips lift, chest pushes back. Take a moment. I want you to feel how your right side and left side are compared to each other. My left side is significantly more loose than the right, mainly because that pyramid pose, it feels really good. We're going to go warrior two on that right side, so that right foot will step through between the hand. Back heel spins down. I'm going to come up. I like to take some time to set myself up properly, or what I feel is properly. So I'll bend, adjust, open up here. So I'm going to open up my hips, pull my rib cage down, reach as far as I can, and relax my shoulders down. So if you see me in a yoga class, I tend to do this like little arm wave. It's to help remember or remind myself to loosen my shoulders so I'm not super tight and super strong, or I'm pulling my shoulders up to my ears. We want them relaxed. I'm telling myself good because it feels good. Couple more breaths here. 2. We go for that side angle. Right hand coming down. Left arm reaching up and over. Your right forearm can be on your shin. You can allow it to come parallel. You can even grab a block to bring the world a little closer to you. I like to use this as a way to help leverage my chest more open. I'm not resting, I'm pressing through and lifting up. If you want to play with more core strength, take that bottom arm out of the equation. Really use that oblique strength to hold you up. It's not what I'm working on today. Couple more breaths, 2 more breaths. We're going to come back into that warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Give yourself that little wiggle. We're going triangle pose here. So, relax those arms. Hips shift back. You reach forward. You maybe have that block nearby. Boom. Stack the shoulders, try and stack the hips. I'm trying to press my right hip forward and open my chest up here. 5, good, even and full breaths here. We're going to take that pivot out. So hands will frame the foot, that front leg will bend. That right leg is going to drag forward, setting up for that pyramid pose. Again, you can use blocks here. If you have a preferred variation, you know pyramid pose is a familiar of yours and you like it, cool. If it's not super familiar, this is a great way to set up for it. That right hip pulls back, the left hip pushes forward. Spine as long as you start to fold forward. And as you sink deeper, you can move the blocks out of the way. There are other arm variations to do. This is the one I want to work with today. 3 more. Good breaths. We're going to bend that front leg. We're going to pivot forward. So our toes are going to pigeon toe in slightly. I'm trying to square up those hips. We're going for a wide leg forward fold. As you need to make things more difficult or easier for yourself, it's going to depend on what you do with your feet and what you do with your arms. So say you want a nice deep stretch. Take your legs out a little wider, pigeon toe in. Try and get your elbows down to the mat. And hang out here. You want to think about rotating that inner thigh to the back of the wall. So whatever wall's behind you, you want to rotate your inner thighs towards it. Now, maybe you can't get all the way down to your forearms. That's cool. So why we got those blocks. You can go for one block. You can go for both blocks. You can vary the height. The blocks are a way to bring the world closer to you. Now, you want even more? 2 different hand variations to look at. We're going to be here for another like 5 breaths. So hands can walk behind you as your head hangs heavy. Or hands can grab your ankles, outside edges of your feet, peace sign fingers can lift your big toe. Hey, this might feel a little familiar. Pulling yourself down, pulling your elbows away from your body, so pushing them right and left as you pull yourself deeper into the posture. We're going to inhale for that halfway lift. So hands come underneath your gaze. We're going to lift up halfway. Exhale. One more fold, just trying to get a little bit deeper if you can. Two more nice deep breaths here. Inhale for that halfway lift. We're going to come bending the knees, coming down to the mat. Hips to your heels. Just shake it out here. I'm going to go for 2 more forward folds. I'm just going to get a little bit closer so you guys can see or maybe hear me a little bit better. So 2 more nice deep forward folds with a few extra postures sprinkled in just to kind of help loosen up everything. Set. We're going to go wide leg forward fold. I kind of want to mimic what we just did on our standing up. So legs come out wide. Wiggle around until you feel your butt bone press down to the mat. This is a place where you can grab blocks to bring the world closer to you. We're going to hinge forward. So my forearms might start at a block. Gaze is forward here. Try and press those hip bones down. We'll be here for another 5 more breaths. So if you need to take this a little deeper, this is your chance. Come up. Bring those feet together. Shake it out. We're going to go for a seated forward fold here. So this is where that strap comes in handy. We're going to sit up nice and tall to start. Just getting nice and tall. Pressing these down, just getting situated. A few good breaths here because we've spent a lot of time bent over. Want to give you a chance to catch your breath. Wiggle it out. Get whatever props you need nearby. Strap. And as I'm ready to fold forward, I'm going to bring that strap to the balls of my feet. And I'm going to start seated pretty tall. Gently pulling back on the strap to pull my toes towards my face. And as I'm more comfortable, my hands creep down the strap. You don't want to hold on to a strap where you don't have one. Hands are on the thighs, and they can start starting at thighs, maybe start walking down the shins towards your ankles. Even if your hands can reach your feet, the strap is a really good prop to use to help strengthen the calves and to help stretch the calves as well. Sounds weird. But by pulling the toes towards your face, we're getting that much deeper stretch in your calf. I'm getting some along the arch of my foot as well. But say you're at your feet and you're like, I still feel nothing. I feel quite a bit right there. You want more? Grab that block, bring it to the bottom of your feet, and help just give yourself a little bit further to reach. So maybe you're here and you're like, I feel absolutely nothing. I feel stuff. And still, even with one block, you're like, still not feeling quite enough. You can even grab a second block and fold forward, reaching towards that. Just a few more breaths here. If you want more time, you take more time. But as you're ready, we're going to make towards lying on our backs. Boom. Boom. Bring those knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug here. You can shake back and forth, rock back and forth. Toes are going to plant. I'm going to grab a block just to kind of keep one nearby, or a prop and accidentally grab both of them. So feet plant, hips width distance apart. Heels are in towards your bum. We're setting up for bridge here. Hands are down by your side, palms face down. Chin stays tucked. When you're ready, squeeze your bum, lift your hips. Hanging out here for a few breaths. If you need something more passive, that block can come up underneath your hips and just help focus on opening up the hips versus squeezing the glutes and just kind of giving yourself a counter pose. I'm going to hold for 3 more breaths here. And I'm going to lower all the way back down and drop my knees right and left here. When I drop my knees to the left this time, I'm going to bring my left ankle on top of my right knee. So this is a nice little supine spinal twist variation. It helps get a little deeper into your hip. Try and get your shoulders to relax down to the mat. Gaze can be towards the left, towards the ceiling, or if you want a deeper twist, gaze goes towards the right. When you're ready, break that pose. We're going to switch into that opposite side. So my knees are going to drop to the right. That right ankle is going to come on top of that left knee. That way I'm adding a little weight. Gravity is help pulling that knee down a little more. If you want to, hips can lift up quite a bit more to where you're on that like outer portion of your right hip. By doing that, you're getting a little bit more low back. I tend to like to get more hip so my bum stays as close to the ground as I can. I'm going to offer a happy baby if you want it. So you'll untwist, bring the knees in towards your armpits. Hands reach to the outside edges of your feet or ankles, inside edges of your feet. Peace sign fingers can lift big toe, whatever's more comfortable for you. Maybe you turn this into a straddle, extending both legs long. You can even take your hands and gently press down on the inside. I'm pushing down on my calves right here, or coming down to thighs, pressing out here. Just to get a little bit deeper of a stretch if you want it. If you don't want it, you don't do it. You can guide your knees together and come to fully laying on your back. Maybe taking a nice big full body stretch. And I want to offer just to breathe here, coming back to whatever intention you set at the beginning of practice, or focus, or allowing yourself to go back to counting, whatever suited you to start. Hell, maybe you changed your mind. That's okay. It's okay to change your mind. It's a lot of bending that we did. Hopefully, your hamstrings are feeling a little looser. Your low back might feel a little looser. Maybe there's a little bit of tension from that upper back that's gone. I know I'm feeling quite a bit better, even though I promise you, I don't know if you can tell, I am very sweaty. Yoga can be a very sweaty practice. When you're ready to move, make your movements small, make them gentle, just kind of give yourself a body scan. But I'm going to end our practice the way I would in a physical practice in a classroom setting by bringing my hands together to my forehead for kind thoughts, my mouth for kind words, and my heart for good intentions. Thank you guys for letting me guide your practice. Hopefully this forward fold practice maybe enlightened you a little, gave you a few more tools to work with in your yoga tool case. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday.